Good morning and welcome to another episode of Developing the Leader Within. I'm Enrique Acosta Gonzalez, your host, and today I'm so excited. July being International Month, I have South Africa represented by Dr. Madelaine Gomes, and I'm so happy to have you with us and just anxious to hear you talk about our topic today, which is leadership and you. A very important thing, but I'm going to let you take all of that. And Madelaine, could you take a moment and just talk to us about who you are and what you do?
Thank you, Enrique, for this opportunity. I really appreciate it. I'm a doctor in metaphysical science, but I became a doctor in metaphysical science while I was a director of a top 10 company. So I started a startup that I developed it into a top 10 company. And I learned firsthand the value of leadership, conscious leadership, because the conscious leadership, the people made me successful. I could not be a top 10 company without the people. But it was hard work. And, in those years, there was nobody to guide me or coach me. It was not heard of. So I had to find my own way. And that is why I'm so passionate to teach that to other leaders, because I know what a difference it can make to your people. And I know what a difference it can make to you as a person. If you're open for that and you've got an open mind, a growth mindset, because you learn from each other, you feed off from each other, and you become like an extended family building together on this success story. So
That
that
is
in a
wonderful.
nutshell is me. I help leaders to become a better version of themselves. Not that they're bad, but there's certain things we're not aware of because we have not been taught. And so I like to be their wisdom partner. My clients used to call me their wisdom partner because I do not coach as such. I rather sit and have a deep conversation and we both find a solution for what they want, or we both find a map for where they want to go. So
That is wonderful. That is wonderful, and I love that. I will say I'm almost kin to that, without the collegiate background. So I'm not a doctor, but I'm of the same cloth. I really believe that leadership is not a position. We surround ourselves with that notion, but it is wrong. Leadership is you. You bring that to a company or a group. And so when you bring the wrong you don't bring leadership. So
exactly.
right. So I'm interested. I'm so anxious to hear you talk about your writing because like the picture behind you, the representation of you and how leadership really and truly affects lives. And I know you believe that, and I want to just get into some of the things that I've seen you write. And you mentioned success does not happen without transformation, and
Yes.
that's a very powerful statement. I would like for you to share with us what you meant by that.
Transformation is very necessary because we go through life cycles where we learn. So if you're stuck in a rut and in the same mindset, you are not transforming yourself. So how are you going to transform your business into current times? If you're still operating on an older mindset, that's not serving the time. But not only that, as a leader, it's dangerous because now you're appointing and you're taking people into your company and they might be more developed than you within themselves. So now you want to manage them and it's not going to work. And you don't know that you're sitting with a pot of gold in front of you that can take your company to 2 next levels. But if you develop yourself, you will be able to see that potential and not threat. So success starts with your transformation, depending on what level of success you want to achieve. So you can stay where you are, you're driving your fancy car, you're earning enough, you are a leader, but really, you can take it one step further. and to the next level. If you are prepared to transform, and transform doesn't mean you're throwing away who you are. It's meaning taking the wisdom from who you are and what you gained and apply that in the position where you are now moving forward. Now, the problem is with transformation is most leaders stay who they are. And that's what I found. And the second point I found with them is the old school thinking is they are excellent in their skills. They are. They built a company, they're successful. So who says there's anything wrong that they need to work on? Because human nature is you only change when there's a pain. But why do you want to wait until your company is going down or under, or you need to retrench people for you to wake up and realize, but you know what? I've seen the signs. I've heard this feeling inside of me, but I ignored all of that because they identify themselves with their position and they feel that is their success. So what I found working with leaders is I have a little exercise I let them do just so that they can wake up to their own potential. And that's personal potential, because we've been conditioned mind-wise to measure ourselves and our success to our outside performances and titles and who we are and become. So we're starving ourselves from who are we. But we are the most powerful tool you can use to achieve success when you're in it. Otherwise, you will never be happy. You're always going to seek for more. You're never going to be satisfied. But you will also not be able to emotionally intelligently take a business to the next level.
Now, I tell you, my face is smiling, but my heart is smiling a whole lot more listening to all of that. It truly warms my heart to hear someone else say what you know and you believe. You mentioned success, which is funny because it's usually written on my shirt, right? So success, right? It's something that someone always that is looking for good. It's
Yeah.
always after.
Yes.
And there's different ways of getting it, right? You can get it ill-gotten through bad
Yes.
means, or you can
Yes.
get it through, the pains and the struggles and all of that. And but there's true, when you're talking about leadership, there is really one thing that is the key to success. And I want you to share that with us, because it's often mistaken because of the fact of fear. The leaders' fear of them being replaced, of them being taken out, of them losing ground, it's fear grits them, and they don't really achieve the success. You talked about creating that success through a mechanism, and I would like for you to share that with us.
Yeah, you see, success comes from inside, not outside. Then it's sustainable. And then you inspire people then through your success that you achieve. Because ultimately, what do you want to do? You want to inspire people as a leader. We do not get born as leaders. We learn to be leaders, but not everybody has got it in them to be a leader. So everybody's got a space and a place.
Mm-hmm.
So if you take on the responsibility of to become a leader, it's an inside job. You might have fallen in a position to become a leader because of years of experience in the old days, and position. You've been in a position for so long and you know the job very well. But I still believe in an authentic leader, in a conscious leader. And what is a conscious leader to me is creating. So now that leader merge himself with the leader of the company. So his values are becoming the company values. The company can add values for the sake of the people that's involved. But ultimately, it's the leader's values that shine through. Then it's his mission and his vision, his own, that's coming through. His beliefs in himself. If you believe in yourself and your heart space is right, and you can connect with people at a heart level, they feel it. They want that. You're gonna unleash potential in them that they didn't even know they had. And that is where the key to your success is how good do you let others feel about themselves? How do you allow them to step into their potential through you? You can only do that if you merge yourself and the company. And that is literally the security energy center of our bodies, because that is our pillar of strength. That's ancient wisdom, but the pillar of strength. So if your foundation at the bottom is formed and you're secure in who you are, and you pull that through into your company, so the company becomes an extension of your values, your foundation's laid. You're not going to feel insecure. You're not going to feel when somebody challenges you on an opinion, you're not going to take it personal. You're going to listen because you are prepared to listen to opinions, because you are happy within you knowing the next person might have a better idea, and it's for a collective success, not only your success.
I tell you
So that's
that,
how you create success.
yeah, that's not only the picture of success. That's the picture of everybody's the company that everybody wants to go work at, right? It really is, and it's all of our desires. But you know, when you talk about personal success and you merge it with the company, it becomes a business success, right? And there's a key to that. And you talk about creating the right tribe.
Yeah.
And I see where you're going with the personal. Now you merge it with the business, but can you talk to us about, you know, the tribe aspect?
I'm passionate about that, because who you invite around your table is whom you make. Who's going to make you and who you make. So companies tend to employ people on a wild chase, and there's sometimes no thinking going into this, and I've seen it many times. And then they have a whole lot of HR managers in one company, and they're all doing their own thing. The secret to a tribe is to align their mindset with the same vision. So you create this Maharashi effect, we call it, where you take people's energy and you align their mindset with the same vision, the same goal, and the same time period, everything the same. And everybody starts to work collectively to achieve that. But the important part of a tribe is they complement each other's skills. And that is where they go wrong, is they do not complement skills. They just appoint, then there's competition in skills. And that causes conflict.
It sure does. It sure does. I mean, it seems like this is something that would be just natural to think, but it's so counter of what we see on a day-to-day basis
Yeah.
in companies, because for one, the leader is not secure.
Yes.
You know, that person has been surrounded by attainment, never really got to know themselves enough to know what they need to work on themselves to secure that spot. Whether, you know, I'm a leader, whether I'm in a position or I'm not. Wherever, I tell people, lead
Yes.
where you are, and that's the
Yes.
testament of you being able to lead somewhere else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know what's beautiful? If you are a conscious leader, you create leaders in your company, not employees. So I say, be the leader of your position, of not the leader, but the employee. Be a leader of your position. With that comes automatically accountability, responsibility, creativity, innovation. So what does it mean? You don't need to manage them, micromanage them anymore. You, as a leader, have less stress. So you can trust in your tribe now, because each of them is a leader of their position and of the outcome. And if you align them with the same outcome and mindset and values, they will take pride in to deliver that for you. So you can sit back. You don't have the stress levels anymore of trying to do 10 jobs at the same time and keeping tabs on everybody and worry about the deadline that you want to achieve. You can let go, because the most beautiful deadline will happen. more than what you think. Why? Because if you believe in me, I don't want to disappoint you. I'm going to give you my best. You know, I don't want to leave this company because at other companies, they don't do this. So you're going to have at least 80% of me working for you. Where in a normal case, I would say what I've seen and experienced, 40% if you're lucky, because they're not aligned. They come to work with their home problems. They still cross with husband, wife, kids, whatever happened at home. Then they have their altercations here because their vibe is not right, their mood's not right. Plus, they don't know where they're going. They're just doing a job to earn money at the end of the month. So now you've got scattered energy. Therefore, companies don't do well. If you have aligned energy, aligned values, our values are transparency, honesty, and you list them all like everywhere. And they know that's the values in our company, not negotiable. Nobody's going to have their finger in the cookie jar. And everybody is going to be honest and transparent. And they're going to work for that goal. So my experience with my own company was, it took a while to work it out, is if you align that and you create a collective success, if you let your staff taste success, they never go back to being unsuccessful again. Isn't that beautiful?
It sure
And
is.
I did it with truck drivers, you know, that nobody wanted. And I supplied companies with unemployed, I took unemployed truck drivers from the street and I developed them. I felt sorry for them because they were exploited. And then I realized they had no confidence, they had no self-belief in themselves. And I said, no, come to my office, I take care of you. So I developed my own self-development programs in 1994 already. And I sat every afternoon with them for between 3 o'clock and 5 o'clock around the table and talk. And then I realized that there's a misalignment between the cultures. The clients do not understand the culture, and the drivers do not understand that culture. So I started to teach the drivers about company culture and clients, how they think, why, how to greet them, how to speak to them. Then I went to the clients when I sold my services and I told them how the drivers think and how we should treat them. So I became the bridge between the two. And that's how I built my tribe. And those drivers, it's a very simple method anyway, because I always started with, when I walk in, I had the application forms and I've gone through it already. So I know who I wanted and who not, because it was a high risk thing. It's truck drivers. I don't supply insurance. You know, the company supply the truck. And I want to take over their workforces. So as I walk in, my first question was, do you believe that you can be the best? Are you the best? And because my reputation traveled, they said yes. No, they were not the best, I know that. But because they agreed that they're the best, they already made the commitment and the switch. And what happened there is they opened themselves up for me to make them the best, to teach them. They were like sponges. And that's why I'm so passionate about developing staff. Because when their light goes on, you change a life, and that's transformation.
Yeah, that's you had said in your writing, when you speak to the mind uh,
Yes.
of the other person, and words have power, and I know that well.
Mm.
When I was younger, I had leaders that would down me, and
Yes.
those words shifted me in a different
Yes.
direction.
Yes.
Other than uh, and and I always wanted to succeed as a young man, but it was against the current now, because where I was aligned to go straight up, I had been shifted by words, and now I was still going up, but now I had the friction of the words against me. And
Yes.
so I believe that full well, and I know how important and how impactful that is.
Yes.
Um, you when you talk about You said depending on how you look at others, you see the reflection of you. What do you mean by that?
What I've learned over the years, after I've been director and all that, through all my studies, is I've seen a CEO recent reacting in the worst way possible at the smallest thing that people do, and they're never good enough. They can never be good enough because he's so perfect, and more a narcissistic sort of management style or personality, to call it what it is. And I looked at the people and I saw the people way different. I saw their potential. I saw their hearts were vulnerable because they need the job. So they had to stay and work for this man because they need the money, and they didn't believe in themselves, and they didn't believe in themselves because he broke them down. So that way he had a hold on them to work for him and play with them while breaking them down even more because they didn't have the courage to go out and look for another job. But what I realized is the things that he started to say to them and what his remarks were an absolute true reflection of him. So what I mean by that is be careful when you judge another person in front of you. Rather see the beauty. Because if there's so much friction in you when you look at them and that sparks that ugliness to come through, it's something in you that they're waking up, that's reminding you. You should rather take a step back and say, be big enough to say, what is this showing me? What do I need to change to get better results? So we are very quick to judge people because we've been brought up like that. We've been conditioned in our mindset to be judged and to judge. Only the one that finished first in the line is the best. Only the rugby team in the first team is the best. We've been really conditioned from small to feel not good enough. So 90% of the people on this planet feel not good enough. They suffer from a victimhood attitude while they are good enough. But they are not good enough only because they've led to believe they're not good enough. So if they start to find their own inner power and who they are, they will find they've got equal opportunity within them than the person who's breaking them down. And that is why I'm passionate about it, is be careful. What eye do you use when you look at people? Don't be so easy to jump and judge. Rather take a step back and say, I don't want to judge. Rather, I either see the beauty or I walk away. But don't use the eye to hurt and to insult and to break a person down, because there's enough of that already. If we want to change humanity, if we want to change business, and if we want to change the world, we're going to need to change it in us first. And it starts with leadership. Because if we find leaders that becomes conscious of what they say, what they do, what they think, and realize that everything they think becomes true in their energy field, and it has a ripple effect around them, then we can change the world. We can change companies. We can breed success.
Yeah, as you're talking in my head, I'm thinking, judgment begets judgment.
Yes,
You you may do it and not realize it, but it will come back to you, and
yes,
so that's why it's never broken. It's a release, the catch and release, right? You throw it and
yes,
you bring it, and it's a continual thing. Um, and I agree wholeheartedly. The judgment aspect is what builds walls. Um,
yes,
you don't let someone in and you won't be able to get out. So you talk about, are your beliefs and actions aligned with the vision of your future?
exactly.
And all that what you've said basically puts you in that position to ask that question. And knowing yourself, the inner, what creates you, being able to bring the best out of people because you're no longer threatened. being able to talk to people and convince them at the heart level, which is what people don't understand, is that we are all humans, and we listen, think, and hear. These are different senses, right? Different avenues to get to hear. And
Yes.
if you can get to hear as a leader, the level of success, and I love how you put it, if you let them taste success, they'll never go back to it. You
Yeah.
won't,
Yeah.
right? It's just like, the first time I got in a Mercedes Benz versus a Toyota
Yes.
Celica, a box car. The
Yes.
first time I got in there, I said, I can't drive nothing else. I don't
Yes.
want, I don't want to drive nothing else.
Yes.
And that's just material.
Yeah.
So imagine, the things that really touch the heart. You're right. People won't go back to it.
Mm.
And then, you have your question, right? Are they aligned? Are your beliefs and your action aligned with the vision of your future? And I learned here not so long ago. I was in a CEO mindset course, and the it was that, are your actions today supporting your vision of tomorrow? And if it isn't, you need to cut it out. That's what it was. You need to cut it out. And so, how would you explain that very question, and where are you coming from when you ask that?
It's the mindset, in our minds. First of all, people don't put a vision out there, they forget. So every day becomes the same. And that's why companies do not grow. And they don't see the red flags because every day is the same. So I believe that the vision should be changed or amended every 3 to 6 months to stay up to date with what's going on around you, with people, with growth, with, changes are there all the time. If you are stagnant in your vision, you're going to fall behind, and your company is not going to make it. So, in your mindset, you truly need to work out what habits, what thoughts are triggering you or are setting you up for failure rather than success, because your thoughts are aligning you with your outcomes. So if you believe that you're a person that would like to lead this workforce to success, that's going to happen, because they're going to feel it, they're going to see it in your actions, and everybody's going to be aligned and on board. But if you're just a leader with your own vision in your head, but you're not discussing it, there's not the right communication, your listening skills are not in place, and that's another thing that's so important. Your people are not going to be on board. So what happened to the vision and the mission to get to where you want to be? And how do you align that to get there? And I believe most companies that are in panic now did not revisit their vision in the past, and they did not revisit their values and adapt it as they go. Because it just can't be written in stone today, and for the next 10 years, it's the same. It just doesn't work. So to me, a vision is so important. And also, vision means now you need to set goals for your staff to achieve the vision. Goals is the easiest way to manage people, because we have a goal to reach at the end of the month. So how do we break it down into 4 weeks to achieve that? By Friday, who achieved this week's goal? And if they didn't, let me assist you. Why not? Let's work on it. So immediately you can pick up when a person is in a troubled spot, emotionally maybe not there, maybe they have a problem at home that you can attend to. You can pick up what needs to be done to keep everybody aligned and in that flow. And that is how you create successful people. You help them along. You don't give them a goal, no help along the way. They don't achieve it in 6 months, and now you're saying, I'm not paying bonuses at the end of the year. Because what did you do to help them to get there? Why did you not see that they're falling off the wagon and that they're not on board? But if you do it properly, it's a beautiful journey for everybody. It's small little celebrations every Friday. So they go home elated, can't wait to come back on Monday because they're working on the next step and they've been praised on Friday for well done. That's people's nature. If you can work with nature, then you've got them. Everybody wants to feel nurtured and successful.
Yeah, you talk about, and that's beautiful because that, and I used to run and manage a bonus program. So that last example really hit me like, yes, that's exactly how that system should
Yeah.
work. But we're talking about leadership and you, and we've been focusing on the successes of what that really looks like. And you talk about inner wellness, right? Inner wellness and success principles. Um, because you have to be conscious. The leader that is not conscious, it will struggle. Not
Yeah.
only will struggle themselves, but will struggle in leadership. And
Yes.
what can you tell us about that inner wellness that's required?
It's so important, self-knowing, self-actualization, self-development. To give you a simple example, if you know, it's not only if you know who you are. I go through a 6-week journey with a leader to start to assist him to nurture himself and bring and find the better parts in him, because we're not used to do that. So it's not, I don't ever want to sound like I'm judging. I rather want to nurture and to help. But say, for instance, that you have your inner wellness and you feel at peace and you fully committed in who you are, your values are in place, you've got a solid foundation for yourself. I mean, it's not perfect. None of us are perfect. It's a lifelong journey, but it's a beautiful journey because you learn to know who you are. So then staff are going to speak to you, or somebody's going to speak to you, and you're going to learn to listen beyond the words. Because you're so calm within yourself and you are so sure of yourself that you're not feeling threatened, you're not feeling, all these threats that's coming at you and personal attacks when people talk about themselves or even speak. You will also lose the desire to always speak, and you will be quiet. Now, I believe your power is in your silence, because silence gives you observation and it gives you the time to listen. And I tell you what happened to me. I sat in meetings in a company, and I listened to the one manager every month, and his figures were wild to start with, and nobody ever picked it up. This went on for years. I just arrived, and then the third month, I thought, you know what, something's wrong. Whatever he mentions in the meetings, I don't see it happen, and I had my finger on the pulse on 71 people. So I knew it's not happening. Anyway, so I listened again behind the words and I thought, and the next thing, I just had this feeling. I asked him one question. And this one question, he gave me the answer. It was a very simple question. And I don't want to say it because I don't want to identify the company.
Yeah.
But it was a very simple but profound question. Then I went to the finance department and I double checked on the question without speaking to anybody. And the answer there was way off from here.
Wow.
So now, what is in this gap? And it's huge. So I started the investigation in this gap. I uncovered probably the biggest irregularities you will ever find in that size company. I left because it is just mind-boggling. So as a CEO, if you learn to listen behind the words, when people speak to you, if you say to me, if you ask a staff member, how are you? They're going to say, I'm fine, thank you. Because it's the right way to do it. It's what we've been taught. But if you really listen to them and you say, are you really fine? Is there anything I can do for you? They're going to hesitate for a moment. In that hesitation, you know they're not fine. Or they're going to say, no, I'm fine, I'm happy, really. But you're going to pick up something's offish there. And it's the same when you sit in meetings and people need to represent themselves or their work. You need to be silent so that you can listen for underlying threats, and you're going to pick them up while they speak. But if you haven't learned to listen and you always want to talk, it's not going to happen. You're going to miss a bar or two there, and you won't pick up threads. You won't pick up like I picked up there, you know, what was going on there. And that was hectic. I mean, wow. It took me 3 months to uncover the whole story because I had to work undercover to do it. But it was massive. So that's why I'm so passionate about the development of the leader, because it's also for his own protection. But what it does, then it's not only the development of the leader. Once you get the gist of it, it's a beautiful journey to you. And it will influence your relationships, your private life, your health, your wealth. Everything around you will be influenced by the peace that you found within you and who you are and who you bring out when you're in a company. And the main thing for me is, or the beauty is, when you're a conscious leader, you're always the same. Whether you're with your friends, whether you're in your company, you treat people the same. So I want to give you a nice example. I went to a wine evening at the 5-star hotel, and I stood there, and a man came and he spoke to me. And because of his energy around him, I knew immediately he's got authority. But he wasn't egoistic at all. Beautiful. We had a lovely conversation about the wines and the business and all that. And then he said, well, please excuse me for a moment. I just need to go and speak to other clients because we had overseas people there. Anyway, so the waiter came, but as he walked away from me, he said to the waiter, please make sure her glass is full. So the waiter came to me and I said to him, is that your GM? And he said, yes. I said, yeah, I thought so. I said, tell me more about your GM because I'm doing research on leadership and I would like to know what's your thoughts on him. How he's such a beautiful person that I just spoke to. How do you feel? He said, I will not work for anyone else. And I said, tell me why. He said, do you know, I drop a tray with glasses in front of important guests. And he helped me to clean it up. And in the kitchen, he said to me, what would you do different next time? He never criticizes, never. He comes with an open question to make them realize what they need to do to change and to prevent what happened now. He said, and the way he speaks to people, the way he spoke to me now, that's the way he is with everyone. That's the secret of a beautiful, conscious leader, touching hearts. This guy said, I will never work for any other leader. And then other hotels in the area call him in to come and help them with the development of their staff. But that is who he is. When you meet him, you meet that person. And that's the ripple effect in change and transformation that he creates around him. And that is leadership for me.
Yeah, that makes me want to find out where do I sign up, right? It really is, and we all have those people come sometime through our life, and you can almost identify them. You'll never forget their name.
Yes.
You'll never forget where you were.
Yes.
You'll never forget how they made you feel. You can probably attribute a lot of your successes and things that you've implemented because of those leaders. And so that's the heartwarming. Thank you for sharing that. It's heartwarming, a testament that they are out there. And you know, he wasn't born like that, right? He had to along his life pick up those things. But how beautiful it is to take something that may have been a thorn bush and
Yes.
present a flower, right? He presented a flower. You couldn't see where that flower came from.
Yes.
But he presented it and it beautified everything around him. And that's where true leadership is. When
Yes,
you can be a leader where people will they'll fight to stay with you,
that's it.
where people will sing your praises, right? There's two things that come to my head, and you was talking earlier, right? Where words are many, sin is not absent. So yes, please listen more than you speak. And another thing is, let another man's lips praise you and not yourself. These are testaments of people. Had you been in a different hotel and asked the same question, you definitely probably would have got a different answer about the
Yes,
manager or the leader. But in
yes,
this case, a beautiful, beautiful lesson into the outcome of great leadership, and that's so
yeah.
wonderful. And Madelaine, I am enjoying this conversation so much. And I want to give the listeners an opportunity. Um, if they wanted to speak with you, if they wanted to learn about your trainings, if they wanted to, hire you and get in that with you, to learn to develop as a leader, how would they do that?
Okay, my email, I like them to email me because then I can respond and set up an appointment. Um, I am still from the old school where I'm hands on, and I want to be in the mode and in the in the flow. And my email address is Maddie. It's MADDIE GOMES, so Maddie Gomez at gmail.com. And my website is the same. It's www.madelainegomes.international. But I prefer the email because it comes through on my phone and everywhere. I can be on top of it, make an appointment. I'm busy writing the book, and I've created a leadership workshop and course. And also, it's not only for leaders, it's for managers, because managers have the potential to become a leader. So, and the most complaints in companies are about managers and how they treat staff, and they're not sure because they're not getting the right leader leading into a position, sort of guidance, if you can call it like that. So I like to work with managers and teach them the success principles of leaders, because then when they go into leadership, it's not a shock to their system, or now it's all of a sudden it's a different culture, it's a different ball game, it's different power that you step in, and that is where they fall short and they go into the power side, but they forget the human side.
Yes, that's so true, and that's something that we anybody that's working in developing leaders is after, right? I love to work with the folks that are thinking about leadership,
Yeah,
because that's really where I don't want to get them after they're they're destroying everything. I want to get them before they get in a position where they can actually impact
yeah,
folks. So,
yeah.
Madelaine, thank you so much for this time. This conversation is something that I'm going to be listening to for a long time myself, and I hope our listeners are enjoying this knowledge that you're sharing with us. For those listening, uh, you know, uh, don't be shy. Don't be shy. If you want true development, seek it out. Find it. I mean, there's so many of us out there in the leadership development world, and different flavors. But if Madelaine spoke to your heart and spoke to your spirit, hey, reach out to her and get with her on that development. Madelaine, thank you so much for your time, your wisdom, and what you've shared with us.
It's such a pleasure, Enrique. Thank you for the opportunity.
All right,
Anytime.
for all those listening, as we normally end this show, success to you.